Chapter 41. If you want to read up to 12 chaps ahead or read other novels on the work, go and check web links oacuten.com/cornbringer. Web links. Join the Discord server if you want to talk and stuff. Boston was exactly like I remembered in my past life. Well, not exactly, because this time I'm not in a hospital. But it was pretty similar in the end. Hestia had sent me on another quest, to avoid the Olympians hunting my ass. I really appreciate what she does for me. Anyway, with my quest at hands, I explored Boston left and right, and boy, I noticed a little detail a bit too late. If only disembodied voices were more descriptive with their messages. I groaned. Boston was fucking massive. What did the voice expect? Go to Boston. The fucker might as well have said go to China and I would have been in the same situation. That shit was not specific at all. It's like saying loom for a cow in Texas, though I suppose that would have been better than what I have. And then it clicked. Oh my god, I'm a big idiot. I've been looking at this mission all wrong. Instead of trying to find something odd in Boston with my two mortal eyes, I should have focused on searching magic in the area. I just didn't think of it because I had nothing in particular to search for. But if the being was strong enough to alert Hestia of his presence, then, his magic should be leagues above anything considered normal within Boston. Alright, grabbing the map of Boston I had conveniently acquired in the local post office, and with a generic mnemonic incantation I started to search the map for any magical anomalies within the state. This would take a while to do so. Boston was big, and with no parameters for the search it was basically like Googling a random letter, or something along those lines. Nonetheless, the spell did its job, eventually highlighting one where I had to go, an hotel, which was, I swear to chaos, if Ares is behind this I will make my personal mission to kill him. Begrudgingly I teleported to the alley behind the hotel, ready to nut punch the god of war. Fuck the man. Manuel Ares had crossed the line where his nuts were secure. Ready to fight, I walked towards the hotel. Walking through the alley, and much to my pleasing surprise, the energy coming from the hotel was not anything like the magical signature I was used to feel in Ares. This one was vastly stronger. And before anyone ask, but Adam, if the being inside the hotel is stronger than Ares, shouldn't you be afraid? And to answer that question, are you retarded or forgot to charge your brain last night? Right now even Hestia could one-shot me, so operating under that logic, fearing the unknown entity more than Ares was stupid, because both of them could kill me with a blink, for now. But fear not, I wasn't going to enter unprotected. I had a bunch of magical buffs to help me out if things got tough. So taking a deep breath, I opened the door to the hotel lobby and, that was it, I was immediately knocked down with what I can assume was the force of a horse punching my face with its forehooves at the same time. Literally, the moment I touched the door, and moved that bitch a little, I was down for the count. Opening square bracket. Unknown. Pav. This shouldn't be possible, I stated, looking at the kid I had knocked down with my customized weapon, the four hooves. A war hammer that was shaped to look like door hooves of a horse together. Isn't he Greek? He smells Greek, sister, my sister said. He does, I nodded, but he isn't entirely Greek. The Allfather won't be too happy that a living Greek demigod entered his hotel. Only the dead should be able to enter the Valhalla. He isn't dead, I think, my sister hummed, poking the unconscious or dead kid with a stick. Well, if I killed him we are solving 50% of our problems. I offered. That is a bad joke, my sister sighed. Now let's take the kid to Helgi, he will know what to do. I nodded. Adam Pav. I opened my eyes to find I was alive, which meant I had someone to hunt. What kind of asshole attacks an 11-year-old kid without even announcing his presence? Not an anime enemy, that's for sure. You are finally awake, a man with a massively long beard said. His beard was, it touched the floor, that just be a pain in the ass to keep. Observing the man, I noticed right away he wasn't the one that knocked me out. His was weaker than me, considerably weaker. I could tell that, so I opted to observe him. His hairs looked like a buzzard that exploded inside of a volcano, odd considering his beard was well kept. As for his clothes, he was dressed in a forest green pinstripe suit, with black designer boots. As for accessories, he was wearing gold rings and chains, many of them. Are you a pimp? He literally looked like a pimp. He was like the Santa version of one. What? No. The man shouted in response, my name is Helgi. I'm a hero. Well, you look like a pimp. You should go easy on the gold accessories, and maybe change that suit, I replied. How dare you? Helgi the pimp shouted. So where am I? And who knocked me out? I asked, and the man sighed. You were on Asgard, Hotel Valhalla to be precise, and the one that knocked you out was one of the 12 Valkyries serving the Allfather, Helgi sighed. I see. Analyzing data. Analysis complete. Starting run the fuck away from here program. You'll never catch me alive. Why did I run? Well, I'm not sure myself, but it felt at the time like the right call. Stop on the name of the Allfather. Helgi the pimp shouted, running after me. Never. Chapter 42. I ran through the hotel with no idea where I was going, with Helgi chasing me close behind until I managed to escape the Nordic hero in one of the hundreds of corridors the hotel had, where I immediately changed form, to that of an animal, a raven to be precise. Alright, Adam, focus. Some way, some fucking how, you managed to get into the famous Valhalla. Now think, was this the place the voice in my cabin wanted me to see? If so, was I related to the Norse gods some way? Interesting magic you have there, someone remarked with a chuckle behind me. Startled, I turned around to see who had said that, and a single thought crossed my mind. Fuck. In front of me, stood a barrel-chested man with massive arms, gray hair, and a square-cut beard that accentuated his weathered face. His left eye was covered with a black patch, leaving only his right eye shining with curiosity. As for his clothes, he was wearing a polo shirt, and some khaki shorts. Gotta stay on character, quack. Ravens don't quack. The man I knew to be Odin chuckled, but I must admit is hilarious to see you try and fail so badly. So, you are going to kill me? I hesitantly asked. Odin snorted. The Allfuckingfather snorted. I think you have been spending too much time with the Greeks. He laughed. Why would I do that? So far you haven't done anything worth killing you. I might have, I conceded with a small chuckle. Now, why are you here? Odin asked, gesturing around, confused as to why I had chosen to hide in one of the cleaning supply rooms his hotel had. I will assume you ask why I am here, in this broom closet. Well, I kinda panicked and ran from the Helgi the pimp. I chuckled, but then processed what I had just said. I called one of his employees a pimp to his face. Do I really want to die? Ha 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 ha, he does look like one, doesn't he? Odin laughed, his guffaws echoing in the large room, causing the brooms to shake and the cleaning supplies to fall. He is surprisingly chill for someone on the same level as Zeus, maybe even stronger. He does, I nodded. Alright, drop the transformation, you are on the clear. Odin said, taking a deep breath, recovering from the fit of laughter he had let out a few seconds ago. With my approval, no one will touch you, he added with a smile, and decided it was best to follow his command. I did as I was told. So, I have a question if I'm permitted to ask, I said, being as respectful as possible. Then again, if Odin killed me, Ares and Zeus would never get the pleasure to do so themselves. A win-win situation. Odin looked at me, and said, sure, he smiled. Do you know if anyone contacted me in my cabin, in Camp Halfblood? I asked. If someone could answer, this was him. He was supposed to be all-knowing. No, Odin answered with a smile. I have no idea who or what contacted you, which is both refreshing and alarming. He chuckled, but I wouldn't worry about it too much if I were you. I see, I sighed. Now, let's talk about your magic. It's very unique. Odin looked at me with his right eye, or only eye for that matter, and smiled like a child with a new toy, something that genuinely terrified me. Do you infuse mana into your constructs? Or into your incantations? I spend hours talking with Odin about my magic, and even the most insignificant details were enough to have the god of magic smiling like a love-struck fool. He asked me questions about things I had no idea how to respond or if I even could to begin with. In the end, I decided to tell him a little about my Grimoire, and with a Kakashi-style one-eye smile he offered me asylum on his hotel, under the condition I would answer his questions about my magical powers every now and then to the best of my abilities. In summary, Odin was a weird, very friendly yet terrifying. Unlike Hestia, where I knew no matter what I did she would never hurt me, I instinctively knew I had to tread carefully with Odin. He was like a tamed lion. One wrong move and he's not tamed anymore. At least that's what I felt, like I was a kid, walking on a minefield. I recognized that look. A very, very muscular girl said, walking towards me with a smile. The girl in question was a tall, burly teen with pale blue eyes, and snowblonde hair braided down her shoulders. Let me guess, the Allfather found you interesting? She asked with a knowing smirk, and I nodded. The name is Gunilla, daughter of the god of thunder, Thor and captain of the Valkyries serving the Allfather, Odin. Gunilla smiled. I apologize for what one of my sisters did to you. Have no doubt she has been thoroughly punished for hurting an innocent man. A pleasure to meet you. I bowed dramatically. The name is Aragon, Adam Aragon, son of the Titaness of motherhood Leto, founder of the pranking sect of Camp Half-Blood. and owner of the anything you can buy as long as you have money store, I chuckled. Gunilla stared at me, uncomfortable all of the sudden. Had I said something wrong? I see. Well, welcome to Hotel Valhalla. I hope you enjoy your stay, she said, all sense of friendliness gone, as she walked away from me. What is it with muscle ladies hating me? I sighed. First Clarice and now her. Oh well, I can always bald her if she tries to bully me, I shrugged. With that said and done, I decided to explore the hotel, and see if I could find something interesting to do. Who knows, I might have some fun around here. Chapter 43. Odin Pav. The boy had arrived, earlier than I had expected, but here he was, in my kingdom. If only Zeus knew who he had under his thumb for so long, the boy would be dead by now. Who is he? Asked the captain of my Valkyries, Gunilla with a frown. I feel he is partly Greek, but that's not all there is to him. I looked at Gunilla with a knowing smile. I expected nothing less from my granddaughter. Yes, but you can't know that, neither can he. Not yet, he's not ready. Your will is my way, Gunilla said, kneeling down. Don't worry, I smiled at her, noticing that she was tense. He has a good heart, and a pure soul, his presence will not bring any harm to Asgard. I understand, Gunilla said, still kneeling. Now, go and see that our guest is not treated badly, I said, winking at her. I will take a walk, alone. Pure of heart, he was, but if he fell into the wrong hands, if his father managed to corrupt him, it would be the end of Midgard, so it was written. The boy, he looks more innocent than I had expected, my beautiful wife, Frigg said, teleporting to my side. For a guy destined to destroy Midgard, I was expecting something more. I don't know, evil. Yeah, I wasn't expecting someone like him either, I replied with a laugh. He reminds me of Balder, Frigg said, sighing with sadness, tears threatening to form in her beautiful eyes. I grabbed her arms gently and pulled her into a hug, her head gently touching my chest. Yeah, although Balder wasn't much of a joker, and let me tell you Adam is, I commented with a short chuckle. Of course they are different in personality, Frigg stated with a snort, but their souls, they are so alike. They both genuinely don't want to hurt others, but alas they have both been forced to do so. Ah, I see, I chuckled, you are right. I just don't understand, how can he be the one destined to destroy Midgard? Frigg sighed, how can someone that is inherently good, be the one that will bring upon the end of times for Midgard? Well, when a man learns to love he bears the risk of hatred, I sighed, and so he will learn to love, and I would make sure, things didn't end like in my vision of the future. Unlike Ragnarok, this future was not written in stone. Adam Pav. Hotel Asgard was so far, way more, and I mean way more interesting, than Camp Halfblood. For one, the hotel alone was several times bigger than the camp, and it had a more advanced facility for training. From sword training to guns. It was cool, I had to admit. Brat, Helgi greeted as I walked to the lobby, and right away I could tell he was angry. Pimp, I greeted. I am not a pimp. Helgi growled. And I'm not a brat, I shot back. I don't know why they let you be here, but I will enjoy the day our king kicks you out, Helgi sneered. Sure, pimp, I waved him off. That's it. I'm ending you. Helgi growled, jumping out of his desk. You would be wise to drop this little circus act, Helgi, Gunilla said coming out of nowhere, her voice carrying a cold undertone. The Allfather has declared he is welcomed here, and until he says otherwise, you will treat him with the utmost respect, or I will show you why I lead the Valkyries into battle. Damn, I chuckled, loving the poetic justice of the situation. Quote. Fine, Helgi muttered, lowering his head. A wise choice, Gunilla said, her eyes cold and unmoving, almost as if she was dead. Wait a second, is she dead though? If I recall correctly, only dead people go to Valhalla. Thanks for the save, I smiled. I almost thought you didn't like me, I added with a teasing grin. I don't, Gunilla stated, and ouch, but I'm not here to like people. I'm here to obey the commands the Allfather gives, and he likes you, and that's all I need to know. Huh, Odin likes me, that's already a win. Alright, well, if you'll excuse me, I will go down to the training facilities, I chuckled. As you wish, Gunilla said, walking away. What a weird lady. Hestia Pav. It has been 6 days since Adam left the camp, and well I couldn't help but miss him, he was such a nice change from my old life. I hope everything goes right, I muttered. He's a strong and rather unique kid, Hades assured me, he will survive, and if he doesn't, well you can always come and visit him, Hades chuckled, and Persephone hit him, what? Don't pay attention to him, Persephone sighed, he is just trying to be funny and nice, she glared at him, and Hades shuddered. I know, it's just I can't shake this feeling, something big will happen to him, I sighed, and I don't know if this change will be for good or for bad, and that's what worries me. We might be gods, but even as can't control everything, Hades sighed, all we can do is trust him, and see what happens, he smiled. Yes, I smiled, all we can do is hope for the best. Those words were nice, and yet I did not believe them, not because Hades was lying, but because, the situation felt, ominous. Don't worry, Persephone smiled, now, let's continue decorating his apartment. I want to surprise him when he comes back, she giggled. I looked at the apartment we were currently painting like mortals would do, and smiled, yeah let's. I chuckled. I don't understand why can't we let our servants do this, Hades grumbled, or at least use our powers. Because it would not be as special, Persephone added, sticking her tongue out at him, to which I laughed. Chapter 44. Odin had given me, a very good advice, something I failed to see or think of until he told me, the reason why mages in his realm were so good fighters, mana enhancement, he said the reason I was losing so much was because my muscles were barely getting any mana. It was so simple and even then that simplistic idea flew over my head until now, because realistically I only used mana with my spells out of that, I had no idea how to use that valuable resource. So Odin had someone teach me how to do so. It wasn't hard, just different, considering I was used to gather mana with my incantations, but once I managed to do it, the results were incredible. I was faster, way faster than before, stronger, but even with all those gains I was clumsier. I had lost finesse, moving faster, shortened my reaction time, and my new mana-infused strength was hard to control. Meaning I would have to learn how to fight all over again, but considering the improvements were too good for me to even care, and the fact it barely consumed any mana I was happy. I would get stronger and stronger, but it had a limit. For what Odin told me, each body has a limit of how much they could enhance with mana. That limit depends on the age and power of the person or god in question. People like Percy and Annabeth, who don't use the mystic arts to fight, apparently have their bodies function in a different way. A mage, and a non-mage, are very different in one single aspect. One of them can control their mana entirely, while the other basically functions in something akin to autopilot. What did this mean? Well, people like them, have their bodies decide how to distribute the mana within them, but mages, like me, have to do everything manually. For better or for worse we control our mana almost entirely. I feel like I could crush Clarice with a single punch, I chuckled, as I punched a rock, shattering it. If she's a rock, and doesn't move, perhaps, Gunilla commented, God damn it, I need to put a bell on here. Sorry, excited I got a physical boost. I wasn't sure I could call it that, meh, I'll go with that. Impressive, Gunilla said, sounding not impressed at all, but far from the strongest I have seen. If you want to bring glory to your name, you need to train. Force is meaningless without skill. She was right about that, can't refute that. But while I can't refute that, it doesn't mean I will not tease her, and, let me guess, you will train me. I smirked, and much to my unexpected surprise she smirked back. Yes, I will. Gunilla stated, a smug grin on her face, and something akin to amusement on her eyes. I can't let you shame the Allfather by leaving Valhalla with such a disgusting fighting skill. Excuse me bitch, I don't even have a full year training. Alas, it was a good opportunity. The Valkyries were legendary. I see, wheel, let's get to it. I rolled my eyes at her, and without a warning she punched me, with enough strength to dislocate my jaw. I stared at her, eyes wide open, my jaw hurting a ton. Lesson 1, never lower your guard. You probably thought as long as I can cast my spells I can win anything. Well, all it took was a single hit to disable your magic. Yep, this was war. Taking a deep painful breath, I put my jaw back into its place, and said, I hope you know this means war, right? God, even after fixing it, it hurt. One, it will take you a long time to win, Gunilla stated, amused. Day and night I would fight Gunilla and her sisters, not because our training schedule said so, but because she was training me for the unexpected. According to her, a warrior must always be ready to fight, anytime, anywhere. And I can understand that. I mean, it makes sense, but fucking damn it. I would be sleeping and boom, a Valkyrie would swat my room and beat the crap out of me. I would be taking a dump and boom, Valkyries, eating. You guess it, Valkyries. And the worst part was that even with my enhanced strength and speed it was hard to hit them. In 1 week, they had broken and healed almost every bone I could name. Granted I can't name many, but having over 20 fractures in a week was a bit traumatizing, even if they could heal the fractures right away. But, I had to admit, Gunia's method was working. I was lasting more and more each fight. my body was reacting better to the random encounters, and while they still beat me, I was getting a hand of my new strength. I heard my granddaughter has been beating you, Odin laughed, walking to what was left of me for the day. Not only her, each and every single one of your Valkyries, I chuckled. If you don't want this, all you have to do is say it. Odin smirked. At this point, I snorted, oh no no no, I will keep trying until I can make your granddaughter say uncle. I was going to make every Valkyrie submit, before I stopped this. Ha ha ha, good luck with that, Odin added with a grin, beware though, if my son hears you beat his daughter, he sighed, and my eyes widen, would Thor kill me for that, he will invite you a drink, and then he will fight you, not out of revenge, but desire for a challenge, as if I was near to challenge a god. I weighed my options, and well, you all know me, I'm a vindictive asshole, I will get my revenge regardless of the consequences of it. So, for our chat today, what curses are troubling you from the book? Odin smiled and I started to show him some of the spells I was afraid to use. Chapter 45. 1 month of suffering later. It had been a month and 11 days since I arrived at the Valhalla Hotel, of which I had been fighting day and night against the Valkyries. Today, I had my weekly duel with Gunilla, to see my improvements. I still hadn't managed to beat any of them, but to be fair they attacked me in groups, so I had faith that 1 against 1, I would have a better chance of defending myself. My fight against Gunilla started like any other, with her trying to crush me in less than a couple of minutes, something she had managed to do the first couple times, but thanks to the psychological terror she had inflicted on me, with attacks at all times, I was on high alert and thanks to that I was able to keep her away from victory, dodging her attacks, one after another. But dodging wasn't going to win me the fight. If I wanted to win, I had to attack. With that in mind, I curled my hand into a fist and aimed at her nose when the opportunity arose, which thanks to my mana-enhanced body and her predominantly being a close-up fighter came rather soon, pushing my speed to the limit, and with our bodies being a few inches apart there was nothing she could do to avoid my attack, and so my fist hit the bridge of her nose. Her blood splattered all over the training ground, but she didn't even flinch at that. She simply looked at me, and with something that could only be described as a happy growl of approval, she grabbed my arm before I could pull it back, locking me in place, and hit me straight in the face with a mean left jab. Almost immediately I tasted blood, my blood, as I fell to the ground thinking. Come on Adam, you've been fighting her for a month straight now, day and night, don't let her get the best of you. But before I could process how to recover myself from this, she grabbed my head, her fingers digging into my scalp, and like a rag doll lifted me above the ground, my feet dangling in the air a few inches from the floor, and with a smile that lasted about a second, she slammed her right hand into my ribs with great force, my vision blurry upon impact. I could feel the pain rippling across my stomach, making me feel dizzy, disoriented. But it wasn't over yet. I was not going to go down with a single punch. Willing my body to obey, I threw a fast hook at her with my right hand, which she parried with a left hand, releasing my head in the process. Taking this little window of chance, I forced my body to move midair, throwing a sidekick with my left leg which took her by surprise. If the look of her face was anything to go by, the kick hit her right in the ribs, and pushed her a few meters to the right. You going soft on me, love? I chuckled, as I tried to sound as tough as possible, but deep down I was struggling to keep my shit together. That punch she had delivered had done more damage than I had expected. I knew if I closed my eyes even for a second I would fall to the ground. Gunilla looked at me, her eyes ever so mysterious, as an unreadable emotion ignited inside of her. Maybe I am, she laughed. Taking a deep breath, I rushed at her. I was determined not to lose this time even if my odds were pretty low. Gunilla smiled, a predatory smile that I had never seen on her before. She was enjoying this. I'm a fucking magnet for crazy. Taak ymydobhtiweht rewap fo eht rednut. My spell was simple, covering my body in a magical field of electricity, making me a living taser, adding some firepower to my hand-to-hand arsenal. Interesting, Gunilla commented, dodging my attacks with relative ease. It will be a shocking surprise when you hit me, or I hit you, I replied with a lame pun, as I continued my assault. Thor Pav. From above the training grounds I watched as my daughter, Gunilla, was fighting my father's guest Adam. In an honorable match, I expected nothing less from my fucking daughter. I was proud of her. Do you think the kid can win? I asked my father, as more beer was poured for me. It was a one of those questions people don't expect answers to. No, not today. In a fortnight he will win his first fight against her, Odin replied with a laugh. Gunilla won't be happy at all, but she will be happy ha ha ha, and I was fucking surprised, that little shit was going to defeat a trained Valkyrie after a month of training. Ha ha ha, I can already tell we will be great friends. I bellowed in laughter, beer dripping to the floor. He is very friendly, Odin chuckled, he is going to lose in 10 seconds. How? I asked, smiling ear to ear. This was exciting, there was nothing better than watching a fight go down. He has highly underestimated Gunia's pain threshold, while it's true she has no thunder powers like you, she inherited your strength and will. Odin laughed, and then I saw it, Adam electrocuting my daughter, and much to his dismay, this was barely slowing her down, she was feeling pain alright, I could tell by the look of her face, but years of training had honed her to act through it as any Valkyrie should. Fuck, Adam sighed, as Gunilla knocked him out with an uppercut that sent him flying. I fucking love this kid, I laughed, banging my hammer to the ground as I rolled on the floor laughing, I lay claim to him as my possible new drinking buddy. Our bar fights will be legendary. Father. Gunilla groaned. Adam didn't say anything funny, Frigg muttered. He is overjoyed at the fact he has found a demigod that lacks all decorum, like him, Odin snorted. Chapter 46. After my defeat at Gunia's hands, once again. I am seeing a pattern here. First Clarice, granted I got my revenge, then Annabeth, I also got my revenge. And now Gunilla. Maybe I'm actually into girls beating me so I can enact over-the-top revenge plans. I'll have to look into that later, in the meantime. It's time to experiment with my new skill. I knew I could take my mana body enhancement technique to a higher level if I focused on that only. It was clear that I was not an expert on it yet, so there was only room for improvement. The first few days after my defeat, I focused on increasing my overall strength with more mana, but that only backfired, because I lacked the experience to control more power than the one I was already controlling, and not only at that, it seemed my prepubescent body had a limit on how much enhancements I could get. But I was not going to stop there. There had to be a way for me to improve my skills, and then it hit me, what if I enhanced other parts of my body? Wink wink, haha okay. Going back to that, what if I enhanced, for example, my eyes to see and process the battle faster? Or my brain to increase my cognitive skills? If this worked, the possibilities were endless. I could essentially turn my body into a living weapon, being able to smell better, to hear better, to see better. So I started to work on that, starting with my eyes. At first all I felt was a funny feeling, like water, was running through my eyes, but it didn't bother me as real water would. It was more of a distant sensation, a ghostly touch of something that wasn't there, and while this was, I suppose, a result, it wasn't what I was expecting. Yes, I did feel my mana running through my eyes, but I didn't see any valuable changes. And I am not gonna lie, I almost threw the towel after that, but then I remembered, the eyes, alone were useless, I had to enhance the optic nerve to see any improvement if it was possible. You see, the optic nerve is a cable-like group of nerve fibers that connects and transmits visual information from the eye to the brain. This information helps the brain process and assess how to react to its environment. So in theory, the faster this information gets to the brain, the faster the brain helps the body react. How did I know this? Well, when you spend all your life in a hospital, and you get 15 surgeries in your eyes, you pick a thing or two. But, while this sounded awesome, like me, there were a few technicalities in my plan. Like, for example, for me to enhance something I had to know exactly where it was, or at least have in-depth knowledge about it. In other terms, I had no idea what my optic nerve would feel like, nor I have a medical diploma to help me out. But I wasn't the sexiest demigod for nothing. I know, totally unrelated, but I haven't got a compliment in a while, and with me losing almost on a daily basis, I needed some self-love. Anyway, before I threw the towel once again, I decided to look for outside help. So with my massive intellect, I went directly to the one person I hoped could help me, Odin. He was known for being the most knowledgeable god of his pantheon, and I knew for a fact he would 5 others' knowledge in exchange for something, so I went to him, and asked to know everything there is to know about the human body. So, you want me? Odin pointed to himself, and I nodded, to give you all the knowledge there is about the human body, he finished, and once again I nodded. Yep. I smiled, trying to hide my overwhelming desire to clap Gunilla, non-sexually. You do realize, most people offer an eye to me in exchange for knowledge. Oh yeah, the eye thingy, not sure I want to go full Kakashi. I do. I nodded, wondering what in the 9 realms Odin did with the eyes, but I am sure you can, I don't know. Sell me that knowledge for a less mutilating price. I smiled. Odin hummed, alright, I'll charge you something else, mostly because the knowledge you are requesting is not that important. He added with a smile, how about a favor? One day I will call for you, and you will come to help Asgard, deal? He extended his hand, his eye on me. A bit ominous, and I will probably regret this later on, but oh well, that's a problem for future Adam, deal? As soon as I took his hand, I don't know how to describe it. It kinda felt like someone pushed a fucking library through my ears, and they didn't even have the decency to lubricate my poor ears. Oh god, this hurts. It always does, Odin sighed. I had to rip my eye for all the knowledge in the universe, and between you and me, that was a picnic compared to the pain I felt when Mimir rammed all the knowledge inside my head. He chuckled, don't worry, just take 2 ibuprofen and you'll be good to go. Ibuprofen. My head feels like I got a spring break hangover, and he is recommending me ibufucking that shit never helps. Water is more effective. I rolled my eyes at him. What about Odinprofen? Is the godly version of it? Odin smiled, like a child, and, well, I took the pills, it was a good joke, so it deserves recognition. I will go to sleep, I said, leaving Odin behind. Next day. The Odinprofen was, actually quite helpful. I woke up with no headache at all, ready to practice my ideas, and, well, let's just say, haha. Ha ha ha, muahahahahaha, it actually worked. I tried these experiments with the Valkyries when they randomly came to attack me and won. I won. I fucking won. Fuck yeah. It wasn't an easy victory though, it was all trial and error. At first I discovered only enhancing the optic nerve was useless. Why? Well, no matter how fast your eyes can see something, if your brain can process that something fast, well, it's useless. So for my eye breaking, hee discovery, I also had to enhance my brain to process the information faster. And it worked like a charm. I was able to react faster to their acts, considerably faster than before, and thanks to that, win. Though this had some side effects like headaches. I will look into that later, alongside my possible revenge getting beat down fetish. Anyway, besides the mild headache I would get after turning off the enhancement, everything worked perfectly. And the best part was, that if it worked on eyes, it would work on any other part, hee wink wink. But seriously, the possibilities were endless. I could boost my lungs, or my immune system. I was beyond excited with this. You will rue the day you kicked my ass. 11 times. I laughed, as I machinated the beatdown on the century that included but was not limited to Gunilla saying uncle, me forcing her to hear my theme song, and her being cursed to look like a very feminine ballerina for a month, and not any ballerina, no. One only likes pink, with an extra big fluffy tutu just to be safe. Muahahahahahaha, victory shall be mine. Chapter 47. 1 week of training montages later. I was ready to face Gunilla in battle, defeat her once and for all. But first, it was time to enact my over-the-top plan. First I created an illusion around me that would make me look like a platypus, then I got a top hat, and then I blatantly modified a song from my childhood years back in my first life. I look like a platypus. I asked to none in particular as I saw myself in the mirror, check. I then turn around to grab my newly acquired boombox, and my new music theme, alright, I have everything I require to win this, and get my sweet revenge. With a smile I ran outside the room, getting a lot of odd stares until I got to the arena, where Gunilla was waiting for me, and let's say she was shocked to see me. What is this? Gunilla pointed at me, while from afar I could see Odin and Thor. Laughing, even Frigg was giggling. This, I gestured to my platypus illusion body, is your doom. You pretend to fight me in that form? Gunilla asked. As an illusion, my form didn't change. I replied only for her to hear. You will be able to see the real me once we start fighting. Of course I didn't actually shapeshift to an animal that can't throw a punch, I think, but everyone else will see the platypus. I smiled like a madman, putting the CD I had worked on the boombox. Musical notes doobie-doobie-doba. Doobie-doobie-doba doobie-doobie-doba. Doobie-doobie-doba musical notes. And so the fight started. First I enhanced my optic nerves and my brain, followed my body. With my speed I approached her, and started throwing punches at her while dodging her attacks with relative ease. My brain was processing the information faster than she could punch. Musical notes. He's a semi-aquatic, prank-planning mammal of action. Musical notes. At this verse, I smiled, punching her in the face with the force of a cannon. Bitches love cannons. You changed. Gunilla muttered, trying to deliver a kick to my side, one that I parried with my knee. Musical notes doobie-doobie-doba. Doobie-doobie-doba musical notes. Well, I have discovered how to cheat my progress, I smiled, getting in a few jabs before having to jump back to avoid her grasp. Musical notes. He's a furry little flatfoot who never flinched from a fray. Aye. Musical notes. I see, Gunilla muttered, determined to win this. She decided to take the offensive. But I was expecting this, and with a smile I charged at her. With my eyes and brain as they were, it was easy to avoid her attacks, almost too easy. I still had to know how to act. But still, I wonder if this is how every other normal character felt when Madara was clapping them cheeks. Musical notes. He's got more than just mad skill. He's got a beaver tail and bill. Musical notes. Pushing through her attacks, I stepped on her foot, interrupting her footwork, and delivered an uppercut with all my strength that lifted her into the air. This disoriented her. I could see it in her eyes as she struggled to move to avoid a damaging fall. Musical notes. And the women swoon whenever they hear him say, I am a true believer of gender equality. Musical notes. Taking this chance, I locked her on a hold, my arms around her neck and my legs around her torso. Yield. Musical notes. He's Adam. Adam the platypus. Musical notes. Gunilla trashed around, but soon conceded, declaring me the winner of our first duel. Musical notes. He's Adam. Adam the platypus. Musical notes. Ha ha ha. Yes. I laughed, helping Gunilla stand up, who was glaring at me. What? I am both proud and angry at you, Gunilla growled. Did you have to beat me with all of this? Was the song necessary? A warrior doesn't need such things. This warrior does. I gestured to me with a cheeky smile. And yes, it was all necessary. You sent your sisters, the Valkyries, to beat me while I was taking a dump, sometimes even when I was sleeping. I haven't slept for more than 2 hours a day since that day. Do you have any idea how terrifying that was? I asked her and she said nothing. At that I smiled, lowering my voice a couple notches. If you ever send your Valkyries again after me, in the sanctity of my room, I will curse all of you to look like animals. Illusions, of course, but good luck getting respect when all you see is a chicken with a sword. This was just to show you, I can do it. Fair enough, Gunilla sighed. Oh, I almost forgot. I smiled. This smile wasn't a normal one. No, this one was of pure unadulterated evil. Enjoy looking like a ballerina. With that I casted the curse, and ran as a platoon of Valkyries chased after me, with their fairy-looking leader, Gunilla, leading the charge. You will truly enter Valhalla today, for today is the day I kill you. Gunilla shouted, and all I could do was laugh and run. The tutu was a nice touch. Sometimes I love my evil genius. Thor Pav. When the Allfather said, Adam would beat my daughter soon, I did not expect this. This had to be the most hilarious and ridiculous way to beat someone. He turned into a platypus and defeated Gunilla in less than 3 minutes. Ha 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 ha. Odin laughed. It's settled. He shall be my new drinking battle buddy. I stated, slamming my hammer to the ground, shattering the marble beneath my feet to dust. This was to let everyone know that if anyone wanted to fight me for the honor of drinking and fighting alongside Adam, this was the time. No one will fight you for the honor, Odin declared, and with a smile and 2 beers I ran to greet my new pal. You are free to try and befriend the kid, he chuckled as he saw me run. Our adventures will echo through the 9 realms. I laughed. Chapter 48. After my awesome win against the Valkyries, and the awesome chase afterwards, I decided it was time to go back to the camp. It had been some time since I saw Hestia. Though I had a little problem now. Thor, the man, literally declared me his best friend and had basically shoved beer down my throat. The man was not like I expected. Then again, Marvel sold a very different version of him. This Thor was vulgar to the point he would fart mid-conversation and act like nothing happened. But I had to admit, he was hilarious at times. But I couldn't stay here. I missed Hestia. I missed her. She was my best friend. Thanks for everything. I thanked Odin. He was a really nice god. Don't worry, Odin chuckled, but if I were you, I wouldn't let Zeus know you were here. He will get some wrong ideas about why you were here. I looked at him, curiosity surfing in my face. I thought he already knew, I pointed out. Nope, all he has seen is you, training in a wasteland close to Ohio. Odin winked at me. Why are you leaving, my friend? Thor asked. I am needed in the camp, I lied. I see, Thor said, sulking down in sadness. I hanged out 3 times with him, what the actual fuck? Don't mind him, Odin snorted. He is just sad he didn't get to show you his man cave. Okay, I decided to ignore that for the moment. Thanks for everything, Odin, I thanked once again. Take care, child. Odin smiled, and with a snap of his fingers I was outside New York. Neat, I chuckled, he had saved me the trouble of teleporting myself, now time to walk back to the camp. It took me around 3 hours to get to the camp, where I got a few odd stares from the people around. Oh, they thought I had died during my quest. We didn't expect to see you here. Again, Chiron galloped to my side, a deep frown forming on his face. Some here assumed the worst. I go out for a month and a half, and they think I died. I tilted my head in confusion. Nobody stays that long on a personal champion quest, and well, returns alive. Chiron sighed. You should go and talk to Lady Hestia, she has been beyond worried for you. I looked at Chiron for a second, before nodding. Once that weird chat was done, I ran to my cabin and opened the door, and as soon as I opened, I was tackled in a fierce hug by Hestia. I thought I killed you, Hestia cried. I couldn't find you anywhere. Great, I made Hestia cry. I'm going to hell now. I'm okay, I hugged her back. I just couldn't contact anyone from there. Asgard was too far away from Midgard for my magic to reach. I'm sorry, Hestia muttered, wiping her tears away, her usual warm smile returning. I just had a bad feeling of you being out radar for so long. As if I would die. I winked at her. Where were you? Hestia asked. Don't tell anyone, but I was in Asgard, I whispered. Hestia's eyes widened in shock. But, how? Unless you are a god or of Norse decency, you can't enter. Well, it seems my magic allowed me to enter Valhalla, and I took the opportunity to train there. I chuckled, by the way, they have better things than us. Yeah, the hotel is awesome, Hestia agreed. All our glory and stuff in Olympus. My brother barely pays attention to the camp. Odin is sometimes the opposite. So you know him? I asked. I do, we gods know each other. We have clashed a few times with many pantheons over time. I remember when Frigg came to us, begging every Olympian to promise not to hurt Balder. Days later he died. Hestia sighed. I also remember when Zeus and Odin met. I feared a new holy war was about to start, but Odin managed Zeus's temper very well. Odin is a very good politician, one that doesn't care about his pride if it means getting what he wants. I couldn't really tell if she was complimenting him or not. I see, I nodded. Did they treat you well? Hestia asked. Yes, I had my own room, food, and they let me use their equipment to train. I chuckled, flexing my muscles for dramatic purposes. I see, Hestia giggled, very impressive. Well, for a 12-year-old it is, I nodded, and Hestia snapped her neck at me, and grabbed me by the neck. Sorry. When in doubt, say sorry, especially if the person holding you can vaporize you. You turned 12. Hestia asked, and I nodded, and you didn't have a party. This won't do. Hestia is not a big deal, I assured her. I drank some Pepsi with Thor. I smiled. I never had a party before and I'm okay with that. My response had the opposite effect of what I intended to do. Never had a party. Hestia gasped. I will make sure you have the best birthday ever. It was I stopped seeing how excited she was, and it was not like she was going to stop. Fine, let's celebrate. I will start working on how to get your sister and brother to your party. Hestia hummed. Oh, I know. Zeus wanted some of my brownies. I will trade them for his permission to let Artemis and Apollo come down to the party. I also have to invite Hades and Persephone, and ban Ares and Aphrodite from coming. So much to do. With that, she teleported in a burst of flames. It seems she's gonna enjoy my birthday more than me. She's sometimes too adorable to be an all-powerful being. Knock. I turned to the door and opened it. Standing outside my cabin, two familiar faces were looking at me in contemplation, Percy and Annabeth. Sup? I waved at them. Annabeth, please don't, Percy muttered, and Annabeth smiled. Revenge. Annabeth shouted with mad delight, taking a stink super bomb, one that manufactured to sell out of her backpack, and with a swift swing she threw at me. The old me would have been hit by it, but this version of me had to pee while holding a knife in case a Valkyrie tried to jump me. So much to her dismay, I grabbed the stink bomb midair and stared at Annabeth. So, if you can tell in one sentence why you thought this was a good idea, I will let you go free. I smiled at her, holding her stink bomb on my right hand. I thought the element of surprise was what I needed to beat you, Annabeth answered. I see, I chuckled. For your honesty, I will give you 5 minutes to hide. 10 for Percy. He seems to deeply regret this, I said as I saw the fish demigod running with all his might, leaving Annabeth behind. He literally ran the moment I said 5, he didn't even hear if I gave them 5 seconds or minutes. Thank you, I'm going to need all the time I can get to hide from you. Annabeth smiled, and like Percy ran, oh how I missed home. 94 comments, 0 vote. Chapter 49. After the failed pathetic attempt Annabeth had made to try and get back to me, I mean, who the fucks yells revenge before actually getting it, is after when will people learn? Anyway, after that sad attempt, I was invited by Chiron to the arena to fight and practice my skills without magic. And with my new skills, itching to be flexed, I agreed. My first fight was against Lee, my nephew. And it went like this. It is I. Lee. Lee proclaimed, I am sorry, your fist fight has to be with me. But fear not, I will defeat you as quickly as possible. He ran towards me, and I slapped him out of the arena. Literally, I moved my hand and slapped him with the back of said hand, and he was out. Alright, now that the back of my hand is all warm up, who's next? I asked with a confident grin. This result shocked everyone. Chiron was staring at me. Annabeth in her tampon Halloween costume I cursed her to wear for a month was also staring at me. Wait, no, she was glaring at me. Oh okay, it wasn't because of the fight. It was because of the costume. Anyhow, everyone except Annabeth was shocked. It was no secret I wasn't the best at non-magical combat. Percy, you are next. Chiron pushed the Nemo-wearing costume demigod to the arena. And I think we all know why he was wearing that, right? Good. Let's see how you do, without magic, Percy muttered, not sounding too sure. Come on Nemo, just keep swimming, I smirked. Percy rushed at me, and like Lee, a single slap was enough to push him out of the arena. Though unlike Lee, Percy was still fully conscious. Since when you are this strong? Percy asked, blood dripping down Nemo's mouth. I eat my veggies, and take plenty of juice, I replied, and he took it seriously. Oh I see, must be the food Lady Hestia gives you. Percy was sometimes so dense. Are you gonna continue the fight? Chiron asked. Nope. Percy shook his head, and Chiron sighed. He bitch slapped me 20 meters into the air. I already have enough stuff to deal with. I don't want fractures in that list. Would you look at that Annabeth? Percy is wiser than you. I laughed and Annabeth growled. Oh don't be like that Miss Tamponbeth. You will get your turn, once a month. Oh that's it. I'm next. Tamponbeth jumped into the arena. I will kick your ass for old time's sakes. Kinky, I chuckled. Sure, why not? Chiron shrugged and the fight started. Tamponbeth rushed at me, her sword ready. How predictable. I inwardly chuckled at that, so with a smile I ran towards her, intercepting her path, grabbed her by the arm and slammed her to the ground like a sack of potatoes, knocking her out immediately. Alright, who's next? I looked around. Luke. Clarice, please tell it's Clarice. I'm good, Clarice mumbled. I don't mind giving it a shot. Luke smiled, but beneath that smile something dark was shining, something that even with my empathic power off I could feel it. Well, let's fight, I chuckled. Luke jumped into the arena. As Chiron carried Annabeth and in the blink of an eye he was in front of me, his sword a few inches from my throat. The old me would have lost right there, but the new me, not only was more awesome, sexy and crazy, but had a severe case of PTSD, and using all that, I ducked under his attack. One thing was for sure, he was faster than Gunilla. Me dodging his attack caught Luke by surprise, who then dodged a right uppercut by jumping backwards. Impressive, you have improved beyond what I expected, he complimented, sounding angry. The fuck is wrong with this dude? Well, like I said before, eating all my veggies helps, I chuckled, sticking my tongue out at him. And while I was giving this general vibe I didn't care. Well, I didn't. I still decided it was best to take him seriously, so I took all my mana enhancements to the limit. An advice worthy to live by. Luke smiled, rushing at me once again, closing the gap between us in the blink of an eye. But this time I was ready, and not only I dodged his blade but I managed to deliver a jab to his nose, breaking it much to my surprise. Maybe he had yet to bathe on the river of the Styx. So, still wanna go? I asked. Luke growled, running at me. This time his intention was not to win but to kill me. Close your eyes, I advised him, and unfortunately for him he didn't heed my advice, so I kicked the dirt around to his eyes, and disarmed him with a kick, throwing his blade to the side. The gods love you, the campers love you, you get to be recognized by all of them, you get to do whatever you want, Luke muttered, and by the looks of complete meh, around I was the only one hearing him. Why you? That cry carried something underneath, a presence that made me shiver out of the feeling of pure malevolence. His voice was now emanating, Kronos. How can I be the only one feeling this? Oh yeah, everyone here besides Hestia sucks ass. Bitch, I'm adorable, and that's why. I replied with a cocky smirk as I ran at him, slamming my fists to his head, knocking him out. Ain't nobody got time to deal with Kronos right now. It seems, you became an exceptional warrior during your absence, Chiron complimented, though your style now closely resembles a Norse berserker, he hummed. I will give all the apples I have in storage if we stop this conversation. Wait, had I done a racist thing, offering apples to a half-horse man, a centaur? Deal. Oh, he took the deal, which means I'm in the green. Chapter 50. After my training duels, I was welcomed back to my cabin with totally expected surprised party that somehow, Hestia managed to pull out in the span of an hour. Then again, considering she was a god, this wasn't really that surprising. We had fun, and I got a lot of presents. Artemis gave me a hunting knife, Apollo gave me a 70-inch widescreen 4K TV, Hades gave a small set of Stygian iron weapons, and Persephone gave me an underworld servant. As for the rest of the people inside the camp, nobody came. The fact Hades was inside the cabin was more than enough to keep most of them away. Percy and Annabeth came, although they were cursed to look like stupid characters they did. As for the rest of the camp, idiots, for real. Avoiding someone as nice as Hades is ridiculous. But nonetheless, I had fun. That was until I learned something, you see. After the party, I saw some campers started to leave, and at first, I was like, oh, they are going on quests, but then, I noticed the numbers kept increasing and increasing. Why were so many campers leaving? Wasn't this place supposed to be a permanent type of place? Are you going to stay, or? Hestia asked, seeing my lost gaze at the campers in the distance. I thought this was supposed to be a very camp-like prison, I muttered. Well, the reason no one was allowed to leave before was because of the symbol being supposedly stolen by a demigod, Hestia clarified. I thought you knew that, she hummed. I really need to investigate things more thoroughly. I see. Well, as long as I can get out freely, I don't mind. And to answer your question, no, I will stay. We have a much of movies to catch on. I winked, and she snorted. That sounds like a plan, Hestia smiled, leaving to the kitchen. Inside, I was screaming, so many plans to gain my freedom back, and it seemed I had achieved that a long time ago. Well, as much freedom the idiot of Zeus allows me, we all know all he sees in us is tools and sometimes booties. Alright, time to try my TV, I sighed. Setting the TV was easy, and now I had something inside my cabin besides my multiple consoles that would help me procrastinate. Ah, I love putting my responsibilities in the back until they come back to haunt me. As I was watching the rerun of Supernatural with a delicious box of chocolate ice cream, I felt someone approaching. With a sigh I saw as Luke basically kicked my door down, breaking my TV in the process. That was a 70-inch, 4K TV, I inhaled sharply. So how can I help you? You are going to answer me. Why is it that the gods love you so much? Luke sneered, holding his sword to the right. I worked to the bone and all I got nothing, and yet here you come, and in months managed to befriend two of the first Olympians. Tell me how. Do you really want to know? I asked, grinning. Yes. Luke growled, his eyes glowing for a second. Do you really want to know? I asked once again. Yes. Luke bellowed in anger. Well, he asked for it. Fuck you, that's how. Ha ha ha. Luke started to laugh, a laugh devoid of emotion. No, his laughter had emotions. But they felt heavy, like a wave of despair. Hestia is not here, nor is Dionysus, he stated. And what? I asked with a yawn. I wanted to talk to you. Luke's voice changed to something sinister. More dangerous, it was unmistakable. I was now talking with Kronos. I have seen your deeds for the Olympians, and I have seen how little they give you. You deserve better. Oh, is this the part you try to seduce me into the dark side? I knew Kronos outclassed me, but he wasn't here. Heck, he didn't even have the power to harm me now. They will never let you fly. They will clip your wings. That's all my son does. Stop anyone with talent in fear they might overthrow him. Kronos said, join me, rise to be only beneath me. With me, you will always be free. What about my cookies? I asked. What? Kronos said, after a long second of silence, probably processing what I had said. My cookies, the ones I should get if I join the dark side, I asked. What? I will not dignify that stupid question with an answer, Kronos growled through Luke. What? I gasped, there aren't any cookies in the dark side. The audacity. Then I am afraid I must say no, my good sir. I bowed dramatically. Now if you'll excuse me, I will go and tell Tail Zeus, his drunk dad is back. It's a shame really, but it was to be expected, Kronos smiled, and that made me lose composure for a second. Why was he smiling? I knew for a fact he didn't have enough power to kill me. Yes, he could force my way some nightmares, but that was about it when it came to his current power. Not only that was canon, but I could feel it. His mana was nothing to be afraid of, nothing like Zeus or Hades, or even Hestia, and yet, he was smiling like he had won. Why? I knew from the moment I saw you, That I had to kill you, and unfortunately for you, my pawn can't do that. You surpassed him, but fear not. At that Luke, or rather Kronos' moving look, pulled a crystal. Let me extend you an invitation to my current home, so that we can have a personal conversation. With a smirk he broke the crystal in an explosion of black shadows, and everything I was feeling was replaced with a sudden sensation I could recognize. I was falling. As I fell to God's nowhere, I focused on what he had said, his home. His current home. I was falling into Tartarus. I left the ice cream out. The ants will run the place by when I manage to get out of there, I lamented. 92 comments, 0 vote. Chapter 51. As soon as my agonizingly long fall to Tartarus ended, I knew I had downplayed this place. The moment I took my first breath I felt my lungs burn. The air was acid, and to top that shit, the ground was made out of broken glass able to pierce through anything apparently. So here I was, on the ground coughing blood, thanks to the air, and with my feet and knees bleeding. Oh God, I gasped, focusing my mana on my lungs and feet, making the acid air, and the broken glass floor more manageable. Now having a better handle of myself, I looked around, noticing the place had a grayish atmosphere made entirely out of living mana that made me feel someone was watching me, or at least could watch me if he or she wanted to. Someone leagues above Kronos. I knew who it was, but the idea of even thinking his name and the fact it could bring his attention to me was more than enough to silence my thoughts. Trying my best shot, I tried to teleport myself out of the realm with my mnemonic magic, but as I expected it didn't work. Then I tried to see if the chapter of curses and dark arts had anything to help me out, and nothing, no easy way out. It seems I'm stuck here, I chucked, blood dripping out of my mouth. But don't worry, Adam, Hestia, Hades, Artemis or Apollo will get you out. I had faith they would help me out. Gods could after all put and take out prisoners from Tartarus. But in the meantime, I had to focus on surviving and on the way trying to find a way to escape. Right now I had to adapt to the environment. If I were to fight feeling like someone is melting my lungs, I would die. I opened the book once again, giving it one last good look, before I embarked on my most dangerous journey so far, my eyes stopping on the soul-related spells I had previously seen on the book, spells I had personally blacklisted. The spells were disgusting in essence, consuming souls to gain power, spells straight from Dark Souls universe and other dark worlds, spells I never wanted to use, spells that went against what I stood for. But could I really keep my morals here? The place monsters roamed free. Did I really have the strength to keep my morals intact, or would I be forced to do it? I will deal with that when the time comes, I muttered to myself in a low emotionless chuckle. Hestia Pav. I felt as Adam was ripped from this realm. I felt as his connection to me was forcibly broken, and I couldn't do anything. There was only one possible explanation. Some way Adam had fallen to the darkness pit in the world, Tartarus. I immediately went to my brother, Zeus. He could help him. He had the power to bring Adam out of that wretched realm, but what I found shocked me. Zeus was talking with Luke Castellan, the son of Hermes. Luke was telling him how he found out Adam was working with Kronos in secret, and that he had tried to send Luke and everyone in the camp to Tartarus once Luke confronted him with a Tartarus crystal. That was a lie. He was a liar. I knew Adam wasn't a bad kid, I knew it. He was caring, friendly, loving, he was my friend. He is lying. I growled, fire burning the palace down. Anger didn't even begin to describe what I was feeling, whereas Apollo. Nobody could lie to him. I'm here, Apollo muttered, his face contorted in pain. He isn't lying, no. I don't believe it. Some way, somehow, Luke had managed to circumvent Apollo's power. I would not believe Adam betrayed me until he told me that himself. Adam is not what we thought. It's the true. Luckily Luke here managed to stop him, Zeus said, trying to be soothing. I don't believe any of this. I said trembling, I curse you Luke Castellan. I curse you to never feel at home, to never feel full after a meal. I curse you to never feel warm. Hestia the first Olympian kick you out the hearth. Hestia. Hermes growled, remove the curses or. I don't like fighting Hermes, you know I love you too much for that, nephew, but I won't back down. I stated, Adam was my friend, the first person that actually cared to talk to me, because of me. Hestia, I know you are suffering, but, Zeus started but I glared at him, making him flinch back a bit. He is no longer welcomed in my realm, I stated, glaring at Luke who was shaking behind his father. I won't kill you, I can't. I am unfortunately too kind for that, but, when I find a way to clear Adam's name, and believe me I will let him kill you. Mark my words child, you made an enemy today. Adam Pav 1 Tartarus month later. I was crying, for the first time in years I was actually crying, everything here hurt, even with mana protecting me, breathing, walking, the water, even the food, everything was a new way to feel pain. I missed Hestia, I missed my once prison now warm and loving cabin, I missed feeling healthy. This was worse than when I was sick back in my old life. It had been but a month, and I wasn't sure what to do, nor if I would be rescued before I went mad. Time in Tartarus was different, it flowed differently. A day here could be a second in the realm world, or a second here could be a month outside. How pathetic, I coughed, blood splattering everywhere as I struggled to keep walking. I had learned the first week that staying too much in one place was a bad idea. I almost died fighting a horde of monsters. I had everything I wanted, a healthy body, friends, and now, I have what I had, on steroids. I laughed. This unfortunately made me puke a large amount of blood. This version of Tartarus sure wasn't like the one I read Percy and Anberth endured. I was stronger than them, and I was looking like a soon-to-be dead guy. Perhaps, using those spells wouldn't be so bad. At this point I would do anything to alleviate the pain, and besides, none of the souls here are souls people will remember or care about anyway. So perhaps, just perhaps, it wouldn't be a bad choice. Tartarus time. 1 minute in the real world equals a month in Tartarus. 164 comments 0 vote. Chapter 52. 2-month. Tartarus was worse than I thought, worse than I could have prepared for. The books did not do this hellish nightmare any justice. The pain that I feel, or rather that I felt before was overwhelming, and even now that I had adjusted to this harsh and cruel environment with my dark magic. I could still feel my body suffering in silent agony. Soul consumption, it was a spell that allowed me to become stronger. In exchange for a soul, a simple yet disgusting transaction, consuming a soul was terrible, both for the poor soul and the consumer. You can feel their agony as what makes them, well, them, disappear inside of you, for a brief moment. You can see everything they have seen, and then, nothing, just a cold feeling. It was a truly terrifying spell. One that I had been forced to use to survive. I wanted to survive, at any cost, and as a bonus objective, I wanted to kill Luke, so my morals were out the window for now. So, I did what I had to do to survive. I started to consume the souls of the monsters lurking around, and by monsters, I didn't mean things like the Minotaur, or the likes. No, I meant people, humans so bad that they had been sentenced to live for all eternity inside the worst realm in existence. I'm not gonna lie, the first time I consumed a living soul, from a human living in Tartarus, it haunted me. The cries of despair of the humans, the tears while they begged for their lives. It was something I was not mentally prepared to deal with. I knew they were bad, and the reason they were here in the first place was that they were the worst of the worst, but it still was a hard situation to deal with, but everything must come to an end, and so did my caring. Day by day, their screams and tears started to bother me less and less, to the point I simply stopped considering them humans. For me, they were prey now, they were what kept me alive in this hellish realm, and I would be damned if I didn't survive. As for the pain, it was still there. No matter how many hundreds of humans I consumed, the pain would always remain, but it was tolerable now. It kind of felt like I was back to my old body now, not worse, so I suppose it's an improvement. The Devourer. A man shouted, his eyes widened in terror. If only he had kept his mouth shut, I would have passed right past him. Boo! I yawned, as aimed my hand at him glowing with a green almost black color and shot a blast of mana that destroyed then man. Oh well, I sighed, pulling his soul to me. I then opened my mouth and swallowed the soul, and immediately after the disgusting sensation of despair the man was feeling as my power consumed him shocked me, but what shocked me the most was the new feelings that rushed through my body. This man knew who I was, that much I was able to gather, and his fear for me was overwhelming. Of course, it was I concluded for myself, these people, they all keep some hope they will be able to escape this realm, and I represent a true end, one that eats away their hope. What an ironic result. Sinners now fear me, an innocent man in Tartarus. Even I can see the cruel irony there. The joke is poetic. I laughed, not sure if there was any emotion behind it, but I laughed. 6 months. How long have I been here? 6 months. At this pace I will end up devouring every human soul inside this realm. Is Hestia even trying to help me? Or was I simply another mere moment in the life of a goddess? Oh, well, look at the bright side. Was there any? Yeah, I'm still alive. Death would be mercy now. No, dying would be the easy way out. I have the tools to survive, and I will survive, I declared as if I was having a conversation with someone. Well, I was, with my inner pessimistic self, who had lost hope in being rescued. I have become stronger than ever, so there is that. Smile, Adam, just smile, I reminded myself, as long as I smiled. As long as I lied to myself, I would have a reason to keep going. I turned around, to see my friend the Minotaur, had found me once again. No matter how many times I killed him, he would come back to fight me. I will end you. And yes, he could talk. I was surprised too. Who would have guessed the big sirloin could talk? Must we do this? I asked him, my eyes narrowed at him. I have killed you 78 times. At one point it should get boring. At least for me it did. I could have consumed his essence. The spell worked on him too, but for some reason, I just never did it, with any monster for that matter. With a growl, the ferocious Minotaur charged at me in blind rage. Thrashing anything in his wake with his might. I hope you taste as good as a steak, I sighed. And with a simple move of my hand, I bound the monster to the ground. If you were more attentive you would have known, that thanks the thousands of souls I have consumed my magic can easily subdue you. I tapped his forehead with a slight smirk forming on my face, but I suppose you got the brains from your father, I laughed, killing the beast with a swing of my sword, one that I had found in this wretched realm. I then proceeded to consume my first monster, and it was worse than with humans. The Minotaur was rage incarnated, and I could feel him even to his bitter end trying to fight. It felt like I had swallowed lava. 1 year. Consuming monsters was, systematically better than consuming sinners. They had more power, more raw material to work with. So since the day I ate Mr. Sirloin, I started to hunt monsters and sinners alike. Funny thing is that as much power as I was getting, the gap between me and some of the titans I had briefly felt was basically the same, which terrified me to no end. If any of them captured me, Kronos would make me suffer for all eternity. Food. I stopped dead on my tracks. Right now I was on my way to, well, nowhere. In particular, Tartarus was confusing as hell, but the point is I was walking, and a very familiar voice caught my attention. Food. Well, hello there. I smiled at the sight of the thing that almost killed me during my first mission. So glad to find you here. Food. The blind amalgamation screeched in mad delight, rushing at me. One of us is, I shot back, cutting her legs and arms with my sword. This time her movements were slow, painfully so. I wonder, how do you taste like? Food. No, monster, she was afraid. Good, devourer, no no no. In fear the monster tried to free itself from my grasp but failed to do so. You know food, you monster. Oh, I'm a monster. I chuckled ripping her soul out. Never heard that one scream to me today. Time in Tartarus equals 1 year. Real world equals 12 minutes. 146 comments 0 vote. Chapter 53. Today was my birthday once again. My 152 birthday. At this point I had lost all hope of anyone rescuing me, but at least I had recovered some of my old self. After devouring millions of souls, be it monsters or humans, I had ascended to a higher plane. I wasn't sure if I was a god, but the harsh environment of Tartarus didn't bother as much as it used to. I would kill for a homemade meal. I miss Hestia, I chuckled, wondering if she even remembered me. The winds outside my cave house were harsh, almost howling. Time to hunt. While I didn't have any hope on others rescuing me, I still had faith to this day I would find a way to escape this nightmare. And yes, I know it took Percy and Annabeth days to escape it, but now I knew the author didn't know how terrifyingly good was this place to keep its prisoners, which mean there was no way in hell. Sushi Roll and Pennybeth managed to escape this in 9 days. Taking a deep breath, I stood up and walked out of the cave, catching my reflection on the edge of my blade. I had changed a lot. I was a good 6 feet and 6 inches tall. Surprising if you ask me. I thought I was going to be small. As for my clothes, I was wearing stuff I had made with my magic, otherwise I would be naked. Which, contrary to most beliefs, makes fighting a bit harder. My face had changed a lot though. My eyes, they lacked something they once had, but if I had to describe myself, I would say my face had a well-defined jawline, a pair of pencil-thin lips, and a fairly masculine profile that had stayed the same. For a long time, I had stopped aging after I turned 25 or something, so since that day not much had changed. Well, I suppose my eyes had changed that day. They went from brown to hazel, a weird change, but not important enough to investigate. Alright, let's see. I described my beautiful eyes, my face, oh my hair. I knew I missed something. My hair was still black and boy it looked good on me, it helped accentuating my features well. Oh, I almost forgot, something very important. I have a six-pack now. Heck yeah. What can I say? Training and exercising and eating monsters and human souls alike has given me a sleek, tight featherweight six-pack. And above it, a well-defined chest. Not much to do down here, besides killing monsters and training, so results are expected. Oh well, I chuckled, nothing like admiring my sexiness before going on a hunt. I chuckled, before sheathing my blade, knowing it would be a long day. Years of hunting and eat monsters had given me a reputation down here. Monsters and sinners alike feared me and would avoid me at all costs, and I couldn't blame them, but that only left the impossible targets like the Titans, the Gigantes, and the Primordials out in the open, beings with enough strength to still trash me like a bitch if I took a wrong turn, and I was not ready for that. With a sigh, I shook my head and decided to focus on the matter at hand, but then I felt something. One of the big fishes was moving. I guess I won't find any souls today, I muttered, feeling that Hyperion, the Titan of the heavenly light, was on the move once again. He was my predator, you could say, unfortunately for me. Every predator has a predator, that's the natural order of things. Kronos had ordered Hyperion to capture me, at least I assumed as much, and like the good obedient bitch he is, he accepted. Unfortunately for him, I was very good at not being captured and killed, but unfortunately for me, hunting with that monster around was a big no. I almost got captured 20 years ago. And well, let's say reattaching an arm is not as painless as anime makes it seem, nor as easy. Oh well, I sighed, going back to the cave. Hestia Pav. I have never been in Tartarus, and well, needless to say, it was a place even gods would avoid, but I had to rescue him, and for that reason, I had begged Hades to help me. At first he was reluctant. I knew he didn't want to believe Adam was a traitor, but Hades was so used to betrayal, to people backstabbing him, that he let himself for a brief moment believe Adam was fake. But I knew my little brother, and I knew it was bigger the part of him that believed in our friend, so at the end, it was easy to convince him. Persephone helped a lot in that, saying she never liked the little shit of Luke, to begin with. Do you really believe he's innocent? Hades asked. He sounded hurt at the prospect he opened himself to someone, and that someone might have used him. I know he isn't guilty, I declared. I believed in him. His words had to be honest. They had to. I refused to believe he tricked everyone. I refused to believe his smile was fake. I know it. Well, it wouldn't be the first time Zeus fucked up. Hades chuckled humorlessly. Very well, let's do this. If we are lucky, if he is lucky, the time dilatation curse in that realm will have not affected him. If it did, and was still alive when he arrived, there is no telling if we will find him alive or not. What do you mean? I asked, trembling at the idea that all we would find was his corpse. Well, each person lives Tartarus in their own way. For some, a second there will be a millennia here, for others a second here will be a millennia there. It all depends on who's suffering, and what they fear the most, Hades stated, his lips forming a thin line in contemplation. So, in other terms, if Adam is affected by that curse, and he fears being alone, he will, I gasped. How long had I let him suffer there, how long? I just want you to know, there is a big chance we won't find him alive, Hades muttered. If the time curse affected him, there is a big chance that if he didn't die fighting the monsters around, he died of old age. But, doesn't that curse only affect immortals? Persephone asked, tears forming on her green eyes. You told me that the curse was put there to make immortals suffer more. Yes, but, if he entered Tartarus like I think he did, there is a big chance Kronos made it so rescuing him would be impossible. Ergo, putting a curse that would kill before anyone managed to clear his name, Hades clarified. I know he's alive, I would not stop believing in my champion, I couldn't. Then he didn't get the curse, Hades sighed. Even if he did, I know he's alive, I stated. Then that would mean Adam was a god, or somehow ascended inside that realm, Hades replied. Let's make haste, every second we spend talking, is time he is suffering there. Thanks for helping me, and for believing in me, I hugged him. Don't worry, Hades smiled, ruffling my hair, I would have come for him eventually, after my paranoia ceased, you simply pushed me to that faster, and besides, I know what it's like to be betrayed, and I know what Adam must be feeling right now, and no one deserves to feel like that. No one does, I nodded. Time spent on Tartarus, 140 years. Real world, 28 hours. 149 comments 0 vote. Chapter 54. I awoke to the sound of Hyperion moving again, this time closer to my humble home, which meant it was time to move. Once again, fucking oversized simp, I muttered, hastily jumping out of the bed to gather my belongings, among them, my grimoire, my diary and my sword. My diary contained a detailed recap of what I had lived inside this hellish prison so far. From day one to today, it was a therapeutic way to deal with the horrors of this realm. Horrors I would try to downplay to keep my sanity. No food, acid water, and everlasting nightmares. This place was designed to drive anyone inside insane, and to a point, I think the prison had done its job, and while I loved to tell myself, I was not crazy. Well, I now had a higher killer count than Hitler. I could feel their pain, every time I closed my eyes. And at the same time I didn't care. I don't know how that made sense, but it was what it was. Alright, I sighed, grabbing my stuff, running out of my cave. For what I could feel, Hyperion was close, too close for my liking. I still had nightmares after our first brief encounter. He was too strong for me to handle. For now, I estimated I would be able to fight him in about 200 years or so if I continued to consume souls at the pace I was going, but for now, I had to run. As I ran through the grayish ground, I felt two strongly familiar presences approach in my direction, Hestia and Hades. Could it be? Had they come to break me out of here? No, remember. 85 years ago, Tartarus. I remembered that day, the day the nightmares started to take forms that could hurt me. I woke up to find Hestia, Artemis, Apollo, Hades, and Persephone in my home at the time. I was elated, and did what I had wanted to do for years, hug them. They had come for me, but I soon discovered, Tartarus likes to give hope, so then it can later crush it. They were all fakes, illusions, tricks. This prison was used by taking information from my mind. Since that day, I have lost count of how many fake Hestias I have killed, how many fakes I have eliminated to keep my mind at ease, and the funny thing is, it pained me to do so. I wanted them to be real. I have to admit, this time, Tartarus is going all out for me. I whistled, their presence felt real, more than the last attempts this prison had done to break me. Perhaps the punishments were simply evolving as I grew. This place was after created to break anyone, so it's only safe to assume, it will stop at nothing to break me. I inwardly smiled, as I ran through the volcanic wastelands, that one would think they were a landmark, but they are not, they just pop out whenever they feel like it. Anyway, I ran through the volcanic wastelands towards the fakes. If there was one thing I was not going to allow this fucking prison was to break me, at least not more than I already was. Boosting my already abnormally high speed with mana, I reached their location in a few seconds, where I stood above them, looking down from a cliff. Hello there, I greeted, a somewhat cynic smile on my face. The fake lookalikes turned their gazes upon me, shocked. Well, that was new. Normally they would start trying to remind how much of a failure I was. Adam, the Hades fake, muttered in shock. I couldn't accept this insult, to what I once loved, and still love, so I cut his already predictable speech about how I should give up with a violent mana blast. To my surprise, the fake deflected the attack with ease, his face showing concern. I'm impressed. It seems this time behind this cruel illusion there is a real warrior, I chuckled. Adam, how many have you killed? Hades asked. Fake, you couldn't possibly fathom the amount of dead bodies behind me, I replied darkly, jumping to the ground level. Now, let's skip the chat where you tell I should kill myself, and go straight to the part 1 break you two apart, I snarled in disgust. Adam. The fake Hestia cried. This only added salt to the injury, they felt so real. I'm sorry, Hades muttered, and moving faster than I could see trying to punch me. These fakes were strong, stronger than me, but I was not going to leave until I killed them. No illusion would torture of them would torture me. No. Hestia screamed, grabbing Hades by the wrist and stopping his attack before it even reached me. No, he has suffered enough. There they were again, her tears. Remarkable, I laughed. I must admit this place sure know how to keep me on my toes. I didn't know why, but I found myself crying, tears falling down my cheeks. Now, you will have to either K. I was stopped when I saw Hestia moving faster than I could possibly defend myself against, but instead of attacking me like I had expected, she hugged me. Her hug felt warm, protective, yet fierce and sad. It's okay, Hestia whispered to my ear, her voice carrying more sadness than it should be allowed. How could they make her fake break out of character? She is supposed to always be happy. I'm here, she added in a soothing tone. This is not fair, I cried. This was not fair, using her image. Why was this place doing this to me? This was not fair. Everything will be alright, Hestia soothed. I won't let you suffer down here anymore. Well, Tartarus had finally done it. Well done. It had broken me, tearing what little of resolve I had left. As I hugged what could be my end in tears, it seems I wasn't as strong as I thought I was. 45 comments 0 vote. Chapter 55. I woke up to find Hades, Hestia and Persephone talking. Hestia was brushing my hair, like she would normally do in our movie nights. Was this real? It had to be. Besides Adam, if this is fake, is better than the alternative. Remember the motto, always look to the bright side. So, sorry. Was the first thing I said. I had, after all, attacked them, thinking they were fake. Hestia looked at me, smiling. I'm sorry. Tear threatened to fall down her cheeks. I had no idea you would suffer this much. I wasn't really mad at her. Well, at one point I was, thinking they had all forsaken me, but how could I be mad at her? She's the nicest person I know. It's okay. I know there must be a reason why you guys didn't get me out sooner. Adam, that's the thing. Since you left it has only been 25 hours. Hades sighed. Nothing has changed. It has only been a day since you entered Tartarus. A day, 140 years. I assume from our violent encounter Tartarus was torturing you with illusions of us, right? Hades asked and I nodded. I thought as much, and sorry for trying to knock you out. In the end, all we needed was Hestia to hug you. Quite a lethal weapon she has there. He smiled, winking at me. Have you actually hugged her? I chuckled. It's like hugging a heater without burning. It's the best feeling ever. I do give the best hugs. Hestia proclaimed, puffing her chest out proudly. All right, not that I am not glad he's alive, but I will address the elephant in the room. Is he or is he not a god? Persephone asked, and, well, it was a good question. After consuming so many souls, had my body changed to withstand my newfound power? How old are you now, Adam? 153, I muttered. No, he's not a demigod either, not anymore, Hades hummed, answering Persephone's question, pressing his lips into a thin line. He is somewhere between demigod and god, kinda like in the middle. I knew I should have gone for a more fiber-oriented diet, I chuckled. That's another thing I wanted to ask. How many souls did you consume? Hades asked, his voice carrying a tone of doubt. I don't know. I stopped counting after the million, I answered, and both Hestia and Persephone gasped. As soon as I got to that place, my world rule was kill or be killed. I see. Perhaps that was the catalyst to your slow metamorphosis into a god. Hades nodded, his arms crossed. I had no other option, I added, a weak smile forming on my face in trepidation. I tried for a month to survive with my own power, but the environment was too harsh. I needed power, and, soon my need to survive overwhelmed my morals. Nobody is blaming you, Hestia smiled, an honest smile that said, I know you are still you, I know if you had any other option you would have taken it. Alright, now that I know time has not moved at all since I left, can someone lead me to the exit? I have a demigod to kill. Luke had at one point my pity, not anymore, I was going to kill that little shit. We can't let you leave, Hades sighed. The little bastard played his cards, and told Zeus you were in an alliance with Kronos. The god's hand curled into a fist, anger radiating from him. And, they believe him. I asked, this had to be a bad joke. Yes, Hestia nodded, her gaze lost as if looking right through me. Luke somehow found a way to lie to Apollo, and, they all believed him. Don't worry though, Hestia cursed him for good. Persephone muttered angrily, if it were up to me, I would have the little shit down here, strapped to a table, making him scream. I know that wasn't supposed to sound sexual, but I snorted, getting a few playful punches in the arm by both Persephone and Hades. Alright. I get it, so I'm a fugitive, well, at least until my name is cleared. Yes, Hades nodded, for now, it's best to save your time to find a way to prove he's a traitor. Me? I asked, bursting into a fit of laughter. I will not do such a thing, why would I? If Zeus was that stupid to let someone lie to him so easily, he was asking to be killed, I will let them figure that out themselves. As for me, I will either stay here if I'm still welcomed, or I will go visit Odin. I see, Hades nodded, I understand your rage, the sense of betrayal by your own kin, your brother, and your sister, I understand it, so I will support your decision. But Hades, Persephone began, but Hades cut her abruptly. But what? The only thing he will get is hate from others, knives of his back, looks for his own family, and only because he was doing his job. Zeus will never be happy with what he does, and nothing he does will ever be enough for those bastards. No matter what we do, we will never be accepted by them, because we are not treacherous snakes, so why even try? Hades was crying. Oh, honey, Persephone hugged him. I'm sorry, I might have projected some of my problems in there. Hades smiled. The point is, he is free to make his decision, and we should all support it. Yes, we should. Hestia nodded, giving me a fierce hug. Good, how much I missed her hugs, her smell, her smile. I couldn't believe how much I missed Hades and his sense of humor, or Persephone and her antics, but we should still do something about Kronos. Relax, I winked at them. Luke will have to reveal himself as a traitor if he wants to actively start helping Kronos, so, when the time comes, I will kill him. That much was a promise to myself. Luke would die, screaming like a bitch. The moment his daddy issues brought into this, was the day he offered his life to me. 136 comments 0 vote. Chapter 56. After debating with my friends, aka Hades, Hestia and Persephone, we came to the conclusion it was best for me to go to Asgard. For one, gods usually go to the underworld for various reasons, and if one saw me they would, well, things would not end well for me, but in Asgard, I would be safe, out of Zeus's grasp. So, I teleported there. With my new power, long-range teletransportation was easy, barely an inconvenience. Inside the hotel, I was soon greeted by a squad of Valkyries who tried to apprehend me. Poor souls didn't see the bitch slaps coming, oh well. After knocking out every single warrior that stood in my way, I went to the gardens where Odin could usually be found chatting with his two crazy ravens. And like I had predicted, Odin was sitting on his usual spot, feeding his ravens. Adam, how was your time in Tartarus? Odin greeted, not even looking at me. An awful place, been there a couple of times for research purposes. You knew? I asked. I mean, I knew he knew almost everything, but my question was more along the lines of, did he knew beforehand? I did, nasty business. Odin nodded. I foresaw your fall into the pit and tried to see if I could help you, but every time I intervened, the visions would change, and you would end up dying at the hands of Zeus, or Hermes, even a few times at the hands of your sister. He sighed, so I opted to let things play out. This way, you were destined to live, it was for the best I think. I was still processing the fact my sister would have killed me. Out of curiosity, does Apollo ever kills me? It was a morbid and a somewhat self-harming question, but I wanted to know. Son boy. Oh yeah, many times. The only constant in my visions was Hestia protecting you. In more than a few, I saw her fight against the gods for you. Alas, she was outnumbered and swiftly dealt with in each scenario. I don't know why, but even under the news my sister and brother would have not hesitated to kill me. I smiled, knowing that no matter what scenario, Hestia believed in me. I see, I sighed. Interesting path you chose, eating the souls of the residents, Odin hummed, rubbing his hands together. It certainly increased your power by a big margin. I don't think anything below a god could take you on now. Well, to be honest, I expected to gain more power. Considering the amount of souls I consumed, I expected more than what I have, I stated, wondering how bad would this conversation sound to others. Oh, well, that's because you suck at managing the vast amount of power you acquired. Right now you are like a hose with hundreds of holes. In the end, you are not working as you should. Odin turned to me, and smiled. You are still operating your body as if it was mortal, so you instead of utilizing all the power you have, you are barely using a 30% of it, the rest is leaking of you. I see, it seems I was using my powers in the wrong way, which was an expected result with my luck. Don't beat yourself up with that, Odin chuckled, considering you gained such amount of power in such short time, is easy to see why you can't fully control it. Even the Olympians had to train before defeating the Titans. He winked, standing from the chair, even I had to train before I became what I am today. Zeus training, I snorted, if dipping his thunder in every wet cloud counts as training, then the man is a master. Dipping his, ha 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 ha, Odin howled in laughter, stomping his feet into the ground. Good to know you haven't lost your touch. So, can you train me? I asked, and Odin shook his head. I would not make a good teacher for what you need. You need someone who struggled to rein his abnormally high power. Odin smirked, and I narrowed at him. For some reason I felt I was not going to like what he was about to say next. The one that will train you, and make you a great warrior. Is Hilgi. So, I'm off. I was not going to dignify that with a reaction. Maybe it was time to meet other pantheons. Perhaps the Egyptian pantheon, probably the next best option. Ra was known to be a powerful wizard. Alright, can't let an old man have his fun. Odin rolled his eye, in clear amusement. The one, or rather the ones I want to train you are, my sons, Heimdall and Thor. For a moment there I thought you were about to tell me how I wasn't dealing with the average pimp anymore, I snorted. Haha. Well, no, anyway, Thor suffered from a similar problem when he was young, too much power, and had to learn how to control it, and as for Heimdall, he will help you learn how to control your new heightened senses. I eyed Odin in curiosity. New senses, I felt pretty much the same but stronger. I know what you are thinking, what heightened senses? Well, once you get full control over your power, your body will adapt to it, changing the way you perceive things, meaning everything little human sensation will go off the charts. Smell, taste, and, well, you get it. Odin chuckled. Heimdall is the best to help you adapt to that, he among us has the best control over his senses. So, I was going to be trained by two of the most powerful gods around. Perhaps my luck is turning for the better, Allfather. That voice, it seems Gunilla had woken up from the bitch slap I had given her on my way here. There is an intruder in the hotel. Oh Gunilla, is that a way to address your crush? Odin teased. Adam. I mean no. Gunilla tried to correct herself after her delicious blunder, but, she was too late. I was going to milk this. I was going to enjoy messing with her. Ha 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 muahahahahaha muahahahahaha. I am back bitches. 37 comments 0 vote. Chapter 57. Learning to control my power was not as easy as I expected. Thor, while an eager teacher, was an awful teacher. His analogy to control my new power was that it was like holding a fart. Needless to say, I knew I would have to learn how to control my powers on the go, trial by fire. It wasn't so bad though. With him I had someone I could go all out. Of course, I would lose each time, but I feel each spar I learned something, be it small or big, that was still yet to be seen. As for Heimdall, well, he was odd. Not a bad odd, but it wasn't a good odd either. He was a weird god, but regardless of his weird personality and habits, he was a great teacher, eager to follow the orders of his father to the letter, meaning he was very happy to train me. As for his methods, they were somewhat unexpected. For him, a warrior had to be calm and chill. I am quoting the guy, and while I can get on board with that, his methods to teach me how to control my other senses to their absolute limit were very weird. His training consisted of napping, watching movies, meditating, and listening to podcasts. For each of these activities he would take a sense away. But I suppose, in the end, I was having fun. And while I still had to learn how to do what both Heimdall and Thor had to teach me, I had learned a few things. For one, I would rather fight Thor than Heimdall. While I knew Thor was vastly superior to his brother, right now, fighting Heimdall was a pain in the ass. The bastard was a master at avoiding. He would literally dodge for hours in our spars before he decided to attack. Thor, on the other hand, he was a berserker. He would go in, tank my attacks and laugh while kicking my ass. Why did I pick Thor? Well, my attacks connecting with him give me a fragile sense of achievement. I heard my daughter likes you. Thor smirked, his arms crossing around his chest. I approve of that fucking union. Let us drink. Not gonna happen, Thor. I rolled my eyes at him. I am about 100 years older than her. Give it some time, Thor added with a burp. If not, we can always find you another woman. The Allfather knows we need you to get laid. 100 years and still a virgin, that won't do. I looked at Thor in annoyance. Of course, I was a virgin. There is not much to tap in Tartarus. It will happen when it happens, I replied. I know some bar girls that would ride you fucking dry. Thor bellowed in laughter, slapping me in the back to add a point. They would love a young god, well, almost god like you. Thor, I will get laid, but it will happen when it happens. Right now I have other things to do, like killing Luke. I inwardly smiled at the thought of ripping Luke apart, piece by piece, maybe flaying him alive. That ought to make things interesting for me. That's why you need to get some. Thor winked. I swear, sometimes I think you are the deity of frat houses, I sighed. Maybe. Thor shrugged. So, wanna go to New York? Or Boston? Alright, let's go drink and see what girls you have in mind. I sighed, a weak smile forming on my face. Yes. Fuck yeah. Thor barked. I'll be back in a few. I need a few things before we go fuck the city. And with that, he teleported out of the room. So fucking the city, I didn't even have to turn to know it was Gunilla. Never seen him so happy to wingman another guy. I am pretty sure both pantheons are betting on when and with whom I lose my V-card, I chuckled. Do men have V-cards? Gunilla chuckled. Maybe. I shrugged. So, how ya doing fangirl? I winked at her. If you want to keep both eyes attached to your face, stop that, Gunilla growled. Kinky, I chuckled. I hate the fact you became stronger than me, Gunilla sighed, my threats bounce off you now. I snorted, your threats never worked on me. Maybe, but at least before I had the power to carry them, Gunilla admitted with a sigh. Whatever you say fangirl, I chuckled. It was one time. I was drunk and said you were cute, and now. The Honorable Allfather is not letting that die down. I could see her struggle. She was fighting with every inch of her life, to not insult Odin. I know what can make you feel better. I smiled, snapping my finger with magic, doobie-doobie-doba. No. I will not be humiliated again in that manner. Gunilla shouted, running out of the room as I transformed into Agent P to kick her ass. P stands for pranks. He's a semi-aquatic parking-laying mammal of action. No. Gunilla growled. I wonder if this will ever get old, I snorted, running after her. Odin Pav. Adam was getting stronger, alarmingly fast. If he continued the path he would ascend to godhood soon. He might not notice, because he is fighting not only the strongest god in our pantheon on a daily basis, but Heimdall, the most annoying god to defeated thanks to his powers. He will surprise Zeus next time they see each other, I chuckled. How will that end? Hugin caught in curiosity. Well, Zeus will be humiliated, I chuckled. I still don't understand why. Why do you risk so much with him? If the Greeks find out, a holy war will break, Munin cawed worryingly, her wings ruffling in concern. Well, you see, some prophecies have two sides. In one of those scenarios, he ends up destroying the world, and on the other side, if I stop that terrible prophecy, well, let's just say that in that case, we are currently building political relationships with the next king of Mount Olympus. If I played my cards right, we would be winning a valuable ally, but for that, he had to be strong enough to resist his father. 126 comments 0 vote. Chapter 58. After going out with Thor, and ending in a hotel with a bunch of naked sorority girls, I came to the conclusion Thor was right. I needed to get laid before today. I was lacking focus, my work had become mundane, but now I had inspiration. Ideas. Passion. For those that had yet to understand what I am saying, my pranking powers had been completely replenished, so I started to plan my master plan to bother one of my preferred pranking targets, Percy. First I found the school he was currently going to. I made a totally legit resume, and applied to his school, where I immediately got hired. Again through totally legit means, it wasn't like I used my magic to force the principal to hire me without following the due process, me doing that. Please. Alright, I did that. After I created my persona, this was the hardest step. It had to be perfect, flawless in every way, so I did what any person in my situation would have done. I smashed my head on the keyboard, creating something entirely random, FRNCSCJKJKJ, and so my name was created. Why did I pick a random name? Well, you'll see. Welcome, Mr. The principal stopped, not knowing what to call me. Mr. F will do for now, I said, repressing a giggle. Good, Mr. F, we are glad to have you here. Your resume and credentials are impressive, the principal smiled. Indeed, I nodded. Now, please point me to the classroom where I have to be. It seems I am rather late as it is. Of course, the principal nodded, giving me the directions I needed. I mean, I could have used magic to know where Percy was, but I was in character, for now. Thanks for your assistance, I smiled. Please go by my office later. We still have to discuss about your salary and where to deposit your checks. The principal called out, please, as if I was here for a public school teacher salary. Donate that to charity or something, I shot back and entered. Ha ha ha, aha aha, muahahaha, my classroom. As soon as I entered I noticed something. Percy was not the only magical creature in the classroom. There was another, magical creature within my parking territory, a cyclops. It was quite easy to recognize what type of creature he was. I had, after all, 800s of them in Tartarus. Hello students, my name is FRNCSCJKJKJ, but you can call me Mr. FRNCSCJKJKJ. I decided to ignore the Cyclops for the moment. If he was here and he wasn't eating Percy, then he was either biding his time, or it was Tyson. I will be your history teacher for the duration of the school year. Do you have any questions? A girl rose her hand, and I nodded. How do you pronounce your name? Ms. Valentine Sr., the girl replied. Very well, Ms. Valentine, my name is pronounced as you heard it, the first time, so, try to recall that memory. I was doing my best Snape impression. Now, we will start the class with something I like to call the Dada War Chronicles of Germany. I smiled, as I saw the panicked face of Percy. He had heard the Dada, his primal fear creeping out had shown that little did he know, he would be the only one to hear them. After 8 hours including detention of messing with Percy, I went back to Valhalla to continue my training, and I had to admit, not messing with Annabeth made this whole ordeal less the ideal. Messing with Percy felt at times empty of emotion. Meh, I suppose if I get bored of giving him assignments about Batman and stuff, I can always just bother Gunilla. I saw your hotel room. Nice, Thor smiled. I haven't seen that many blondes in a room since the 80s, he laughed. I already fucked, so tone it down. I sighed, now is just weird. Fine. Thor rolled his eyes. Maybe this will make your day. He smiled, and I panicked. I knew that smile. No. I was too late. The moment I tried to run, the god of thunder farted, or rather released his greatest thunder. Oh god. It smells awful. Thor took a deep breath through his nose and shrugged. Not my best work. I have pushed worse out of my rear. This one is weak. Maybe I need more spicy food. This was a weak fart. Impossible. It felt like someone entered my nose and set everything on fire with a tiny flamethrower. Railkria. Oh, my mighty fart is gone. Thor blinked. Good. Let me cook a fart worthy of the strongest Norse god. He laughed, teleporting to God knows where. Alright, it seems it's time to enchant my nose to only smell lavender. Dark times were coming, and Thor was going to fart them out. Luke Castellan Pav. Adam had escaped. Kronos had felt it, and according to my lord, Adam was now stronger than ever before, with a power no demigod could match, and even then, for some reason, Kronos had said he wasn't a threat anymore, that Adam would not interfere with his revival, that the one we had to kill was Percy as soon as he went back to the camp, that without Percy his resurrection was secured. I don't understand, my lord. Why is Adam not a threat anymore? I asked. I had to know. His power now was on the lines of a god. Why was he less of a threat now, that no demigod could match him? You have a lot to learn, brat. Kronos laughed. I did what I did to create a rift between him and Olympus. Yes, I wanted to kill him, but the brat managed to escape Hyperion and survive the pit. He even made a name for himself down here, the Devourer, and while my original plan was to get rid of him, this result is not bad. He hates almost every Olympian, except for a few lucky ones, and if we play our cards right, we might even have a way to force him to obey. How? I inquired. Well, kidnapping Hestia is a start. With her in my clutches, the new upcoming soon-to-become god will become my loyal attack dog, Kronos cackled. 38 comments 0 vote. Chapter 59. I continued my training, mostly training with Thor and Heimdall during the nights, making minor breakthroughs on my control, while on my own side I studied the management of spiritual energy, mostly because I had the theory that my power was basically spiritual energy since it was acquired through the souls of millions of beings. The book was both very clear and descriptive about the consumption of souls and the spells for it, and at the same time confusing with the information about said spells, but at least it explained the cons of obtaining power through souls, saying that the more souls were consumed, the longer it would take the body to adapt to them since the power in question had not been obtained naturally, the body would always be behind in terms of catching up. I suppose, in the end, everything came down to waiting. Oh well, anyway, as for my day job as a teacher, well, I have been enjoying myself a bit too much. Trolling Percy was still not as fun as trolling Annabeth, but it would do. As for his little Cyclops brother, Tyson, he was too innocent for me to target. I had standards, and he felt like a baby, trusting, always happy. It kinda reminded me of me, I mean at least in the part he always tries to see the happy side of things, and seeing him, made me wonder, was I still the same? Was I still as positive and full of wonder as I was a few decades ago? Well, it doesn't matter, it is what it is. Going back to Tyson, he was a very nice kid, and for Cyclops that was weird. Normally Cyclops are aggressive, fueled by one thing and one thing only, hunger. Tyson on the hand was hungry, but of attention. And it now pained me to admit, I could somewhat understand Luke, the gods have too much leeway under the pathetic pretense of them protecting their children. And then, they would only interact with their kids when an apocalyptic event was on the horizon and they needed fucking soldiers. I understood why Luke hated them, but unlike Luke, I was not stupid enough to hate all the gods for that. I knew, or wanted to believe my mother Leto wouldn't have given me away if she was allowed to keep me in the first place, but that was not the case. Rules stopped that from happening, and if those rules were ever broken, Zeus would kill both parties without hesitation, and nobody wanted to defy the overpowered whoremonger. He was the king for a reason, and that reason was not his brain. The reason he ruled was his immense and unmatched power. He ruled for that reason, and that reason only. If someone like Hestia or Hades ruled instead of him, the Greek pantheon would be totally different. No, that wouldn't work. Most of the gods under Zeus not only follow him out of fear but greed. If someone like Hestia were to take the crown, many of them would not hesitate to kill her, Hera among them. The only way to reform the Greeks was to have someone of Zeus's caliber or higher with a good set of morals, someone strong enough to keep them in line, for all eternity. But, that's just wishful thinking. I chuckled mostly to myself. It was not like I was going to find someone like that on a Happy Meal. But the point was that I understood Luke's pain, but I would never approve of his methods. The idiot was short-sighted by his hate. Why would he trust a man that ate his children? That's outright worse than ignoring them like the gods do with us. Kronos will not keep his end of the deal. How can't he fail to see that? Mr. F. Percy snapped me out of my long reverie. I finished my assignment in German war theory. Thanks, Mr. Jackson. I nodded without looking at him, feeling a few new magical signatures entering the school. They weren't a threat. In fact, they were painfully weak, which meant they didn't infiltrate the school for me. But for Percy or Tyson, intriguing. If you excuse me, I have to find something in the lockers. Would you mind watching the class and taking note of whoever misbehaves? Me. Percy inquired, shocked. A teacher asked him to do something of importance. Most teachers here hated him. A lot. I would hear them tell me how much they wanted Percy to go, which meant that even with all my trolling I had become Percy's favorite teacher. No, the other Percy Jackson under my desk. I deadpanned. Of course, as you. I rolled my eyes at him. Will do my best. Percy nodded, happy, way too happy to help. Holy me, how bad teachers treat demigods that a simple task is seen as an offering of some kind. Very well, I said as I left the classroom. Going for the intruders was I was going to kill them. Perhaps, I guess it will all depend on my mood. It took me 45 seconds to find the intruders, mostly because I stopped in the vending machine to get a chocolate bar. I like chocolate. Anyway, the ones that had infiltrated the school were Laestrygonian giants, nasty but incredibly weak monsters, well compared to monsters like the Minotaur and others. Hello there, I greeted with a smile, hiding my magical presence. Shouldn't you kids be in class? We were in way, teacher, the leader replied. His tone denoted his mouth was watering at the idea of taking a bite of me, and I was hoping they tried. Good. Be sure to behave, kids. I smiled. For now I would let them live, and see how they acted. Perhaps I could play with them a bit before ending off. Or I could let Percy deal with them. Either way, they were not leaving this school alive, which is what 90% of the students want. Which reminds me, I need to talk with the principal about that. This school is like a depression ad. Chapter 60. Weeks passed and the monsters that had infiltrated the school had done nothing. Way to waste 3 fucking months by keeping an eye on them. Well, I suppose they had been doing something. Bullying kids and shit. But nothing worth of me interfering. Tyson was their primary target. They would bully the kid mostly because he would never fight back. But, I suppose in a way I did learn what they wanted from the school, not that they had many things here to look for. Anywho, they wanted to kill Percy. But so far they hadn't had the chance to act, but I knew they wanted him. Every time Percy moved, the monsters would follow him with their eyes, hunger and anticipation creeping on their magical signature. Now, many might think, why haven't I killed them yet? Well, frankly, Percy has to learn how to fight his own battles, and that chance would come today, it seemed. Allow me to explain. After 3 months of teaching Percy things out of Wikipedia, I had caught, or rather started to feel the barrier around Camp Halfblood was weakening, but unlike in canon, Luke was still on the camp, meaning my presence had derailed the original plot, more than I had previously anticipated. Because of that, Pennybeth was on her way to the school, to retrieve Percy. And I was here, waiting to troll her. Hello, young lady, I greeted Annabeth, who was wearing a magical item to hide her presence from normal humans. What can I do for you? Annabeth froze, not knowing what to do, and I smiled. Behind her I had created an illusion of a random girl, to throw her out of the loop. Hi, Mr. F. Annabeth turned around to see the illusion of the girl I had created and sighed with relief as she walked past me. This was going to be fun. Where do you think you are going? Sneaking up to the school, I scolded, and once again Annabeth froze, seeing a realistic illusion dog behind her this time. Ms. Pennybeth, you know you can't go inside the school without your cute little shoes. I smiled, seeing how Annabeth's eyebrows twitched at the mention of her famous moniker. In the meantime, I played the innocent part as if nothing had happened, all while I put the small fake shoes on the small fake dog. I can't fucking believe it. Annabeth breathed out in relief and exasperation as she was again started to sneak inside the school. Oh, she was making this too easy for me. With a smile I created another illusionary teenager. You can't fucking believe what, young lady? I asked, making my best impression of a serious teacher, trying to teach his young Padawans a lesson. Annabeth once again froze, turning to see me while in the process biting her lower lip so hard in frustration I was afraid she was going to rip it out. Behind her stood a girl, an illusion that said, I am sorry, Mr. F. I just saw, generic teenager thing, and well, I couldn't believe it. Well, as long as you don't do it again, I will keep it between us, I chuckled. This school is too bizarre. Annabeth muttered, and needless to say it took her 3 hours to reach Percy. I had a lot of fun along the way. Annabeth Pav. It took me 3 hours to reach Percy. That teacher was full of coincidences, literally. Every word or path I took I had to double check if he was actually seeing me. For every scenario I thought he had seen me, there was someone conveniently standing behind me to play the part of whatever I had done that for the odds of the universe was the same they had done. I did the math and the chance was 1 on 3 million, but apparently, this school was cursed with odd odds. I was close several times to simply knock the teacher out, that for some reason I wanted to punch real bad, I wonder why. Percy, we have to go, the camp needs you. It seems Adam weakened the tree before Luke defeated him. I still couldn't believe Adam decided to betray us. I refuse to believe he betrayed us, Percy shot back. And what? I hissed. You think Luke or someone set him up or something? I was almost growling at this point. Luke has been with us for years, I know he would never betray us. So that means Adam did. You are free to believe whatever you want. Percy barked at me. He was a prankster, a joker, and sometimes a bully, but he was good, I know that, and I will not believe any of it until he himself tells me otherwise. He glared at me, and I sighed. I actually felt sorry for him. Adam pretended to be his friend, and now he is in denial. It seems we have reached an impasse, I sighed. Still we need you, the camp needs us. I will go, but have in mind, I will do everything in my power to clear his name, and I am not saying it was Luke, just that I know it wasn't Adam, Percy said with a tone of finality that said, I will not argue about this. Adam Pav. I will go, but have in mind, I will do everything in my power to clear his name, and I am not saying it was Luke, just that I know it wasn't Adam. Percy basically shot at Annabeth with determination, and now I felt bad for messing with him for months, and I'm over my conflicted feelings. Anyway, to think Percy would be the one kid to believe in me, will give him an A on history. No, nobody would believe that. Even if I used magic to make them believe, they would not believe. No amount of godly power could make that a believable. So I suppose AB will do. People will believe it, but most likely I will get investigated in secret for possibly sleeping with a student. Oh well. Alright kids, I will be your PE teacher today. Mr. whatever his name is, got sick. Like right now. I chuckled. Poor guy. Such an odd thing to catch Greek dengue for a day. I wonder how that happened. Now let's start the class with a good round of dodgeball. Percy, you will be captain, and as for the other captain, let's go with Pennybeth. Haha, no, that would be silly. She's a dog. I smirked. As for a second captain, let's go with Matt Sloan.